for the past 3 weeks, I I think it's alarming that every time I have to find articles to talk about, it's never a positive thing about Ubisoft. I'll be honest, it hasn't been a positive thing about Ubisoft in a long time in general. It's always something with them, and even now it just gets worse and worse and worse as we talk about it. And honestly, as someone that used to love Ubisoft, like I'm not saying I'm a Ubisoft defender, but I would. My favorite game, once upon a time, my favorite game was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and now it's just like I don't know. They used to try, and now it's just like they just put out live service slop now, and I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, I don't think I could ever. I mean, I could play a Ubisoft game, but I don't think I could ever like get up and go. Let me just play a Ubisoft game again. I think there's only like three outcomes that can come of this, and one of them is the CEO steps down, and someone else takes over, and they can recover either sink or swim from that. Um, the company just shuts down as a whole, and as time goes on, that might be the most likely outcome, or the other likely outcomes that they get bought out. Those are the only three outcomes I see because it just gets worse and worse and worse as the day goes by with this group. But let's start because you'll see Ubisoft's cancellation and closures announcement sparks major union backlash against CEO Yves Guillemot and the inevitable call for a strike. Perhaps he needs to be reminded that it is his employees who make the games. Let's continue. Ubisoft's announced a major overhaul of its internal structure today, which includes numerous cancellations and delays, as well as more studio closures and layoffs. And the French game industry unions Solidar. Ah, it's been a week and I still haven't improved how to speak properly. Solidarity's informat. It's just one word. Solidarity's informatic. Excuse my grammar. Isn't taking it lying down. Is that what is that? Oh, it's the gaming. I'm so stupid. It says right there. That's how I have to read it. The French game industry union, yeah, Solidaires Informatique, isn't taking it lying down. The union is calling for a half a day strike on January 22nd, or what is described as a disastrous announcement, and announced the following demands: an end to the cost reduction plan, maintenance and expansion of remote work conditions, decent pay raises for the coming year. Uh, does that mean like this year, coming year, or are we pushing it back a little bit? Let me do this over here. Whoops. Because I want to hear the music too. I want to lower this down a bit. And then lower myself down a little bit. So does that mean like next year, the coming year, or this year, the coming year? Because if it was this year, then for sure. But asking people to wait a whole other year, I don't know. They might, because Ubisoft might start trolling and start doing BS-ery. Solidarity's Informatique described this as a initial response to the absurdity of management decisions and said other strike actions are being considered. Quote, it is out of the question to let a boss run rampant and destroy our working conditions. Perhaps he needs to be reminded that it is his employees who make the games. I agree. It is the employees that make the games. I've seen this recently. I've seen both sides. I've seen where even with the union, companies will try to flex their muscle and like be power hungry. But also seen where the employee will try to use that as like their badge and shield to get whatever they want. Not saying both are acceptable, but I've seen on both sides. But this is is there more to it? No, there isn't more to it. But this is what was a tweet here? We're gonna open up that. Oh no, I don't have blue sky. Whoops. All right, I can still open it. Never mind. But this is a very negligent company when it comes to their employees, and it's very disgusting what they do. I sympathize with these workers because I've worked in places before where I even with the union stuff happening, people still try to cross a line, and it gets bad at not personally to me, but I've seen it in person, so I understand. But it's always something. It's never, and I really wish it was anything positive to say about them. I wish they had good games again. Because keep in mind, keyword good. I don't need no great games. You know, great games are nice, but having just a good game can take everything a long way. It will restore people's faith if you go, here's a good game. It's not no 9 out of 10, but we got you an 8 out of 10. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Like that. That's how you restore confidence in people. Don't put. You can't put another mid project out. You can't. You can. You have to put a good project out. You have to try, because what's gonna happen, and this is a lesson for other gaming companies, like EA, 2K, etc., etc. You know the big names. You keep treating your workers poorly, and there's gonna be more Expedition 33s coming out. And what's gonna happen is yes, there's a lot of benefits working for a corporation, in terms of sort of. Like you told me, I don't know, sort of. I never worked in a gaming studio, so I can't say. But I've heard things about it. Like basically, it's like as someone when TBH said when in stream, some of these gaming studios work. It's basically like a campus on there. Like basically, you can just live there. But just because it looks nice on the outside does not mean it's good on the inside. Remember, Wonka Factory looked good from the outside until you went in there and started realizing things started looking booky. But that's besides the point. The point is, if you keep on treating your employees bad, especially in like industries like this, like gaming, even fashion, music, there will be more Expedition 33s to be spawned from this, and it'll be a pattern where everyone goes, "We left because insert this corporation treated us poorly. We left because this corporation, this corporation," and eventually people are gonna realize, what if I just start my own game? Like for it, like Expedition 33, people remember. I keep on mentioning it. That started from a Reddit post. Started from a Reddit post. What's stopping the next group of people from going on Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, on those platforms and going, "Hey guys, I have an idea for a game. Is there any mute people that can do music, game design, just anything in general that can help me gaming? We can do a small team. It can take as long as we want. And it will work. We will make money for this." What's stopping anyone from doing that? Because you have the program, Unreal Engine. It is a free program. That's the hard part is finding a program, and it's easy right there. The easy part is finding people that want to make a game. Because I can tell you this right now, there is in any form of media or industry, there is passionate people that want to do things. They just need a home. Like right now, there's some random person in some corner of the earth drawing, just drawing and drawing nonstop, waiting for that big break. And then here comes your beautiful idea going, "Hey, I'm looking for an artist, a small team. I need someone that can lead the group, and I need people that can understand and work together." I'm just going just general because everyone needs a leader in every group. Even if it's not like a super, I'm not talking about like a super leader, like where he runs the show or she runs the show. I'm talking about like where we can all work in a group together, have equal share, but there is one person that like stands from the rest and goes, "Oh, blah blah blah, you need help," like so you just lead by example kind of thing. There is nothing stopping that. I don't even know. Does it even cost? Does it cost anything to publish a game? I don't think it does. Like by yourself, I don't think it does. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go over here. Let's Google this. I have too many tabs up. Does it cost anything to publish a game on Steam? Let's just do Steam for example. So it says right here. Let me pull it up right here. Let's pull it up right here. To publish a game on Steam, you need to pay a one-time fee of $100 per game to the Steam Direct program. This fee is refundable if your game generates at least $1,000 in gross adjusted revenue. This fee covers the application review process and access to the Steam Works tools. Additionally, so all it takes is a group of people just randomly say, let's just come up with a game. Wait, where's the tweet? Did I lose the tweet? Where is it at? Let's come up with a good game. Let's come up with a quality game. Figure it out. Get everything our bases covered and just work on the Steam engine, not Steam engine, Unreal Engine, and then figure it out from there. That's literally what it takes. It ain't that complicated. Well, it is complicated because I don't know how to make a game, but it isn't that complicated. But let me read the the strike note. Ubisoft Paris, enough is enough. Let's strike. Following the disastrous announcements made by Mr. Yves Guillemot, cost-cutting plan, project scrapped, end of remote work, etc., etc. The Solidaires Informatique Union is calling for a strike on Thursday, January 22nd in the morning. Oh, that was today. Hope it went well. We are calling on Ubisoft Paris employees to strike for half a day with the following demands: to end the cost-cutting plan, maintaining and extending the teleworking conditions, decent pay rise this year. This is an initial answer to the absurdity of management's decision. Other strikes are currently being discussed. Interesting. Exercise your rights, you know. It is out of the question to let a boss run wild and destroy our working conditions. Perhaps we need to remind him that it is his employees who make the games. Facing corporate abuses, the counterattack is collective. That is their statement. Oops, is there anything more in the article? Besides this, the syndicate does. Yeah, you should a message. Okay, that's just them. Uh, but yeah, that's one part of the tragic Ubisoft news. Next in the bunch, former Assassin's Creed boss is suing Ubisoft for nearly $1 million. Another bad story. It just gets. You see, this is what I'm saying. It gets worse. Because I'm gonna tell you the headlines of. Actually, no, we can save it because it realizes how absurd things get. Where it's basically like they're spitting in the face of everyone, and people are not gonna take it. People are not gonna take it. I wouldn't take it, but that's why I'm here, not over there. Unfortunately, I would like to. If I had the talent to do it, I would do it. I'd build a game, but former Assassin's Creed franchise executive producer Mark Alexis Cote has reportedly filed a lawsuit against Ubisoft in Quebec, demanding the equivalent of nearly $1 million in damages. The complaint centers on his high-profile exit from Ubisoft, alleging constructive dismissal. Cote spent over 20 years at Ubisoft, most recently serving as a vice president and executive producer of the Assassin's Creed franchise, a role he assumed in March 2022. Also, he was very recent. In October 2025, Ubisoft announced his departure from the leadership. No, from. Sorry. Where is he? Ubisoft announced his departure from its leadership ranks, stating that he has been offered a position at its new Vantage Studios, which will oversee Assassin's Creed and several other IPs moving forward, but declined the offer. Vantage co-CEO Christopher Dorenis said he was disappointed by the decision at the time. Shortly afterward, Cote took to LinkedIn to challenge that narrative, writing, "I did not walk away. I stayed at my post until Ubisoft asked me to step aside." In the same post, he emphasized that he held no resentment over the circumstances surrounding his exit. It's interesting. I have to read more to make my opinion, or I might not have an opinion. I'll be honest. Any bad thing happens to Ubisoft at this point, they kind of bomb themselves, unless it's something where they didn't bring it to themselves. Cote reportedly suing Ubisoft for 1.3 million Canadian dollars. Thanks for the conversion article. Cote is now understood to be suing Ubisoft according to the January 16th report by Radio Canada, citing court documents. The former official is said to be seeking around We said that already, and damages including 2 years worth of salary and 75,000 Canadian dollars in moral damages. It's always amazing how you can sue for basically anything and everything when it comes to damages. Uh, the filing alleges that the former Assassin's Creed boss departed Ubisoft as a result of constructive dismissal, forced to choose between a significantly diminished role and leaving the company altogether. Uh, Cote's unacceptable Ubisoft demotion explained. Prior to Ubisoft launching Vantage Studios in partnership with Tencent, Cote was the top executive in charge of Assassin's Creed franchise, reporting directly to CEO Yves Guillemot. Following the spin-off announcement, he was offered a role as head of production at Vantage, reporting to the head of franchise overseeing Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six, the three IPs under the new company's purview. Cote was reportedly not considered for the head of franchise role because it was based in France instead of Quebec. He contends that his influence crumbled after Vantage entered the picture and that he was forced to choose between an unacceptable demotion and losing his job. Interesting. What it sounds like to me is that they did, let's put our heads together, and we don't want to pay this man. Not pay this man. I'm chatting. Not pay this man. But we don't want to do more than we have to. Basically, what it sounds like to me. So, they said, let's move out with the old, in with the new, things like that of that nature. But Cote said, I ain't doing that. You guys told me one thing. You guys are telling me another. This is affecting my livelihood. If things don't look better, you guys don't sort it out. Better lawyer up. That's it. That's basically what he said. And he did lawyer up. Because Cote refused the new position, Ubisoft treated his departure as a resignation and did not provide severance pay. You see, they treat him badly. They told him one thing, try to do another, and then he said, "Nope, we're going to town." However, his attorneys argue that being forced to choose between demotion and quitting constitutes constructive dismissal under Canadian employment law, entitling him to full severance. He is also seeking moral damage for what he claims is an attack on his reputation, as well as the lifting of a non-compete clause, which he claims restricts his job prospects amid an already weak hiring market, as per Radio Canada's report. Anything follow after? Yep. Ubisoft's petitioned Vantage Studio as a creative hub aimed at streamlining decision-making around its flagship brands, sharing technical resources, and shortening the feedback loop between developers and players. The company also said the spin-off was meant to grant teams greater autonomy over their individual projects. The studio network brings together subsidiaries across multiple locations, including Barcelona, Quebec, Montreal, Sherbrooke, and Sofia. Where the heck is Sofia at? I feel like that's a French city. Under a unified leadership structure, the joint venture was announced during a challenging period for Ubisoft, which has been a string of big budget projects underperformed, while Star Wars Outlaws being the most recent example. You know what's crazy? That game's out right now on Game Pass, and I probably will play it. Just understand it, just to play it. Why not? The creation of Vantage Studios also serves as a strategic restructuring move and source of financial support. Tencent invested 1.16 billion euros, which is $1.35 billion, in exchange for approximately a 25% stake in the new subsidiary, providing a significant cash infusion while allowing Ubisoft to retain creative control over the joint venture. Ubisoft said the long-term goal of the initiative is to accelerate the growth of key franchises and establish a consistent pipeline of evergreen multi-platform releases. Ubisoft once again trying to do the old switcheroo where they tell you one thing, and when it's time to pay up or put words into action, it looks booky, it looks shady, and See, I'm telling you, it gets worse. Not that it gets worse, but it's like there's nothing positive about this company to talk about anymore. Like it gets sad. Like you just go, how did you fall? Because it's even like despite EA's shenanigans, this national they make money because of microtransactions. That's a whole different conversation. That's a different thing. Never mind. But on to the next statement. Speaking of the CEOs, don't call it a layoff. Ubisoft issues a full return to office order for all employees as it confirms more studio closures are coming. So basically, coming to work will have a chance of losing my job. Stuff, stuffed away in the corner of yeah, stuffed away in the corner of Ubisoft's latest high-speed skid off a cliff is a note for employees to support the effective implementation and operation of this new model. The group also intends to return to 5 days per week on site for all teams. Employees who, quote, employees who have been working remotely in any capacity, in other words, will no longer have the option. It's back to conventional office time for everyone. This evolution intended to strengthen collaboration, including constant knowledge sharing and the collective dynamic across teams. End quote. Ubisoft said explaining the decision in person collaboration is a key enabler of collective efficiency, creativity, and success. In a persistently more selective AAA market, in lieu of regular remote work, employees will be given an annual allowance of working from home days. Didn't know you need an allowance for that. It seems like a small thing amidst yet another Ubisoft catastrophe, but the reaction of the announcement is strongly negative, and rightly so. Remote work by and large works, and after years of doing so effectively and adjusting their lives accordingly, being ordered back to the office on a full-time basis is incredibly disruptive for employees suddenly find themselves faced with the need to find childcare, pay commuting costs, and absorb their related expenses, all with no compensating increase in pay, which is to say nothing of the massive and often unnecessary pain in the ass it is. Because of that, some employees and possibly many simply won't do it, which is the point. It is effect. It is. It's. Oh, wow. Yeah, I need a bev. After I finish this section of Ubisoft, I need to get a drink. Because of that, and some employees and possibly many simply won't do it, which is the point. It's an effect. Companies have widely wielded strategically. Third time's a charm, as a form of soft layoffs, in which employees are actually laid off but are instead presented with onerous conditions for continued employment that effectively coerces them into re-signing. The term can also be applied for example, a voluntary career transition program in which employees are given the choice to either quit now with some benefits or risk getting shit canned later with nothing. Sounds about right. It's you see, it's very. Let me finish. Ring a bell. It happened recently at Ubisoft Massive, with October 2025 offered employees the opportunity to take their next career step on their own terms and drop the hammer earlier this month when not enough of them did so. And yes, more such cuts are coming. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot said today that as part of the company's latest bid to keep the lights on, it will selectively close several studios and continue restructuring through the group. I'll be honest, I'm not, because it's gonna talk this. Yep, it's gonna talk about the strike right here. It's you see, it's things like this that make people say the things they say about Ubisoft because it's so ass backwards. Like it really is. And then when you call them out on it, they probably just give excuses after excuses, and you realize that they're full of it. It's just nasty. It honestly is. It's nasty. It's a why. How how do you let something go so sour so easily? That's my thing. That's my question. How do you let something go so sour so easily? It's frustrating for anyone paint that really is invested into this. It's really frustrating because like these things could be avoided if you actually just tried and stopped sitting on your hands all day. It's BS. It's bull. I agree. It's bull because now you're forcing families to do things that they just either feasibly can't or won't. You set them up for this kind of lifestyle. If it really mattered, you could have said, "Hey guys, you're only allowed to come in once a week," and then when the time comes, flip the script to all 5 days. But no, we did the total opposite, and now everything's screwed for you guys. I don't feel bad. I feel bad for the workers that are in these tough times. I do not feel bad for the higher ups because they caused this themselves. They wanted to put out mid to bad products. So when you put out mid to bad products, expect your plate to be filled with mid. Next on the topic of Ubisoft. As Ubisoft struggles to get games out the door, it is investing even more into generative AI. Let me fix my mic. I actually want to hold it. I want to hold my mic in my hand right now, so I can sit back. Ubisoft announced sweeping changes to its business today, confirming more layoffs, major internal restructuring, and the cancellation of 7 projects, including, yes, there was like, I'll say this because it's a Prince of Persia Sand of Times. I saw like 7 different articles on one website talking about how this is getting canceled, and I literally sat there. I was like, how much information could come out about this? But as I kept on going through the articles, I realized that they were just connecting Article 1, 2, 3, and 4 to things like that. Like they were just connecting the dots, and I was like, no wonder it's getting canceled because like 20 billion things is happening behind the scenes. But let's continue reading. So let's continue reading. I didn't even start reading. Ubisoft announced sweeping changes to its intense business today. Oh, I didn't start reading. I'm stupid. Renewed its pledge to double down on generative AI. If you can't afford them, AI, I guess. In a document released today, Ubisoft describes its radically new value creation business model, which it claims will help it become a more gamer centric organization thanks to its right sized and more agile organization. Right sized? You fired like 3/4 of the population of your company, basically. There's no right size. You better hope there's enough size for one person. Because if the finances get more strained, they're gone too. I feel like it's as soon as you come in, as soon as you leave now. It's a revolving door of just BSery. But continuing, it goes on. The new operating model will further empower the execution of the group strategy centered and on open world adventures and got goth Geist native. I don't know. I never heard that word. That is interesting. I'll look that up later. Experiences, support by targeted investments, deeper specialization, and cutting edge technology, including accelerated investments behind player facing generative AI. Ubisoft's embrace of generative AI is nothing new. Last year, the company revealed Teammates, a playable generative AI search project featuring AI powered NPCs capable of dynamically interacting with the player. Teammates was an evolution of the early experiment dubbed Neo NPCs, and it's easy to see how it could be implemented in future Ubisoft games, especially its sprawling open world affairs. But Ubisoft's accelerated investment in Gen AI comes at an end when studios are facing pressure to move away from the tech. When Larry revealed last month it is experimenting with AI, the blowback was so severe that the studio had to host a damage control Reddit AMA. I believe that 'cause I remember that. I remember how much BS shenanigans was taking place when that came out. And then they started to do mental gymnastics on trying to avoid things. Attitudes toward Gen AI will undoubtedly keep shifting him time through. It's hard to imagine. What am I reading? Attitude towards Gen AI will undoubtedly keep shifting with time, though it's hard to imagine it'll go the way of NFTs, which Ubisoft also embraced. But if Ubisoft announced Far Cry AI right now, it's fair to say that backlash would be enormous. Still, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot seems extremely enthused by the tech, claiming last year that it's a big revolution for our industry as the shift to 3D. It's BS. All this I read is BS from Ubisoft. I think they're full of it. I think it's high time multiple people outside of Ubisoft employees spoke out against them. I think their practices are shady. I think how they operate is shady. I think how they make games is shady. I think they are union busting. I don't care if it's an accusation. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, answer this question to me. Does it make sense to you? A company was struggling financially for years now. I'd say 3 years. And one of the studios that they own, their little puddle, all of a sudden want to be sentient and say, let's have a salary because I'm tired of all this bad stuff happening. And magically, all of a sudden, oh, the financial problems we've been dealing with for years, we finally figured out where it was at. Oh, gee, Willikers, man. It was the group that unionized this whole time. Do you not think that's suspicious when all of them get fired now? Do you not realize how shady that is? Straight losers. Loser behavior. It's frustrating. It's frustrating, honestly. I'm done with this Ubisoft topic. The Ubisoft topic is cooked. It's chopped. The Ubisoft topic for the day is done. Thank God it was only four, because there's other topics here that are more